think yeah, we can start. So today we'll be talking about a new topic called Apache web server. Let's start from what it is. Maybe let's take it directly from here. This example. Let's say I open google.com, right? I just it opened for me. Whatever it is. I said something, it opened. Or let's say I opened Google Calendar or anything. Whatever the application you open, it has to be run somewhere. So what we do generally, developers will write the code for this one. Whatever you see here, so Google is on the top left. So all these results, it should be like this: AI mode, all images, whatever, blah blah, all these things. Developers write the code for these things. So we are not developers, of course. I mean, there'll be a team, so they'll write the code for that, and then there will be a couple of testings and all, blah blah blah. We'll see that when DevOps topic comes. So there will be a couple of testings, there will be buildings and all. Finally, they has to run the code somewhere. Run the code somewhere so that we can able to access that. Let's say I have some code. I developed something, an application like Facebook, similar to Facebook as an example. I'm just saying. So I developed an application, let's say called Facebook. I want to access it. How to access it? It has to be run somewhere. We need to run it somewhere. So in other terms, we call it deployment or deployments. So in IT terminology, we call them deployments. We don't say run the code, we say deploy it. So whatever the application you developed, whatever the website, that's why I did not say website. Of course, this is a website, right? Google is a website. Google Calendar is a website. Google Meet is a website. All of these are websites. But be professional, so we call it a web applications. If a 10 years guy call a website, it does not look good. So that's why web application or application, both are fine. So now you are a developer, you have a web application, written something. Let's say using Java something, or I think you might know a little Java. You might have heard of Java, not writing something. So I wrote my code is ready. I want to deploy it. It means I want to run it somewhere so that I can able to access it. So I have a Linux server. So I got Linux server. I want to run here. I want to run in this machine. All right. How to run this? Okay, this is fine. Windows or Linux, whatever it is. So sorry. So now I need to run it. How to run? What are ways to run? There are multiple ways to run actually. Multiple ways to run an application. Those are depends on your application code. So today, there are multiple things. There is for Java it will be little different. The deployment and all. For other language it will be different. For other language it will be little different based on the languages. So why I am saying Java is because it's most commonly used language outside for any development. Of course Python also there, but most famously Java. That's why I'm just saying that's it. Apart from that, nothing. So yeah, forget about that first. So now my code is there. I need to deploy it in Linux machine because this machine is owned by me. So I need to use that to deploy. To run my application. How to do it? That's where this topic comes called web servers. Web servers. Web servers is a service to be honest, we can say it as a service where it runs the applications. All you have to do is you have to tell this web server that hey, I have a code, it's in some path, some let's say /root/test, some path, please run that code. With some configuration we'll say it. Let's say how we configured NFS. We told the path, the route, I mean which to which ID we want to share, like network ID or with what permissions. It's configuration we did and it's shared, right? Similar way here also, we want to tell that where the code is. We don't need to tell which language. We just need to tell where the code is, and I mean, by writing some configuration, and it will do it. It will do it for you. So Apache is one of the web servers. There are two web servers most commonly used. I think it will be used by everyone. It will be either Apache. There is one more thing called Nginx. This is done. We'll see Nginx tomorrow. But yeah, for today we started with Apache. So all we have to do is install this web server. You know, configure this web server to access our code wherever it is. Let's say in my Linux server, I mean, what our idea is, this is my Linux server. I want to use uh, this server to deploy my code. It means your code has to be present in this machine. Otherwise, you can't do it, right? Your code should be present in this machine. I mean, whatever the demo machine it is. Then only the web server, whichever we are going to install here, will access that. Your code is in your laptop and you're trying to deploy in Linux server, it won't work. So your code has to be present in the same machine wherever you're trying to deploy. Of course, I don't have any code. I'll write some simple things. We'll see. But yeah. So what I have to do, install this web server in my Linux machine, get my code and write some configuration to do that. That's the thing. Apache web server, or we call it HTTP web server also. Both are fine. So here what happens is, I think you might seen any website. See, let's say not this one. Just take this Google. There will be HTTPS or HTTP if it is not secure. These are protocols. HTTP protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which will be used by Apache web server. See, any website, take any website, it will run using any of these protocols, either HTTPS or HTTP. Take any website, see ndtv.com or YouTube or Wikipedia, whatever it is. Open any website. They will run either on HTTPS or HTTP if it is not secure. They'll use these. We have to use this. There is no other option. For a website or for a web application, we need to use these. HTTP. How to use this? We'll see. There is not much to use, because by default your browser will take it. See, let's see here. youtube.com. I did not type anything. Just I typed YouTube. I think you might know this, but I'm just saying again. So I had no protocol, nothing I mentioned. If I just click it, see, automatically this will be added. HTTPS also will be added. That's why this symbol you're seeing, lock symbol, it means it's secure because HTTPS is enabled for this one. See, I did not do it, right? Automatically your browser will take it. It means this youtube.com website, I mean wherever it is, Google is running in some web server. It can be in Apache, it can be Nginx, what the other one which we discussed. So similar to it, we will also deploy it, which we can access like this. Got it? So that's about web server. I mean, so where we can access our web application or website. Both are fine. So today we'll see how to install this. What are some main configuration file, how to access our application, all these things. Got it? Let's see. So I already logged into my machine. So again, I'm in Ubuntu. So in Ubuntu, the installation is apt install Apache 2. Sorry, Apache, not Apache. This is the package. It will install, obviously. Click yes. So if you are in Red Hat or in CentOS machines, it will be yum install HTTPD. It will be yum install HTTPD. So this is the package name. If it is if you are using Red Hat or CentOS, if it is Ubuntu or Debian, Apache 2 is the package. Both are same, except the package names are different. That's it. So now it's installed. Of course, it will be failed. Status, sorry. Check the status. It's failed for some reason, which is fine. So we can start this, but it says error. Why? Because by default Apache uses port number 80 and 443 for HTTPS. If you want HTTPS, you will be using 443 port number because you need to generate your certificates, self SSL certificates for your website. We have to buy it sometimes. You have to. They'll be generating it, and by default it will use port 80 with for HTTP. For HTTP, it's port 80, which by default Apache or HTTPD, what I told for CentOS and all, they'll run on port 80. It's failed because it's the port 80 it's being used by something else. I don't know what is that. I know what is that. Let's try it. Because let's restart Apache service. Let's check the status. See, it's running now because there was I think long back I installed other web server Nginx, which I mentioned also, but yeah, I stopped it. But it's fine, it's running. You can see the executable file for this one, user bin system d system apache.service, as I told you, right? Same thing, everything will be present over there. Enable it. Enable means auto start after in a system boot. So those are done. Now let's go to configuration files. Cd/etc. Of course, everything is present in etc Apache 2. So this is what we have. Apache 2 is the main configuration, obviously. Open it. Don't worry about all these things. It is very easy. Very, very easy actually. They're all commented. Got it. And there is something called conf available, conf enabled. Instead of using Apache 2, if you want write new configuration, you can use conf enabled also. So that Apache can read that folder directly. So no need to worry about that. So that also is possible. There are sites enabled, sites available. This also same. You can write a configuration here, sites enabled, Apache will read it. But yeah, that's fine for now. Let's start. And I want to show you one more thing. So this so where www.html, this is the path where Apache expects the code should be by default. There are some code already, index.html, nginx, some file. Let's access it. So this is where our code should be present by default. We can store it anywhere, but we have to just make sure Apache can access that, and we have to make sure we told that to Apache, hey, my code is present here, like that. If we don't mention it, it will look in here. It will come here where whtml and it will look in here. But yeah, I don't have any code as of now. Let's see what will open by default if I do that. Obviously, I'm just allowing the port number of Apache, not Apache HTTP and HTTPS. I mean, of course, we don't use HTTPS, but yes, let's enable it. It's fine. See, it opening something. Apache default web page. It means whatever we installed right just now, it worked. See here, it show you the configuration. See, it will show you everything. So the default Ubuntu document route is where you can make your own virtual host and blah blah blah. Something. Virtual host will see it later. See it because Apache by default look in here, and of course it's not secure because our website is HTTP, not HTTPS, because we don't have that certificate SSL certificate. So how it's loading is its default page. There is something called index.html. Oh, sorry. This is the code. It's opening there. Don't worry about the code. We don't write at all. We don't even touch that. I just want to show you. That's it. Let's create our own file. Just for sample, I just want to show you. Hi, hello, something. I wrote. Let's refresh this one. See, whatever we wrote, it's visible here. Apache took your application. Just imagine this is your application. That's it. I mean, we cannot write a new original Java code. We don't. I don't know. So this is how it works. Sometimes it won't take. You just have to restart your Apache service. Systemctl status. No need to restart. Just reload is fine. Don't restart it. Reload is fine. I changed something. Blah, 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 blah. Something whatever it is. I'm just trying to show you. That's it. Saved it. Just reload it. Systemctl reload Apache 2. See. Earlier it looks beautifully, now it's just random lines because they added some colors and everything to that code. But we are just adding some random text, that's it. So that's about how we install Apache. It's very simple. I mean, let's say I'm a developer, I came to you, hey, I have an application I want to deploy. What you do first, first you have to ask which language, where you want me to deploy. Is there any dependencies are there? Like, sometimes they may need we need to install some package for that. So we will simply ask that and we'll deploy it. We'll write a configuration that we'll see now, don't worry. So but basically just installation and deploy a sample website. This is how it looks like. Got it? Now let's create, sorry, let's go a little deeper in here. There is a concept called virtual hosting. There is a concept called virtual host. What happens with this virtual hosting is, virtual hosting actually, how can I say, is it's a method of hosting multiple, what do you say, multiple applications, to be honest, to be simple, within a single server. See, what I am doing just now is my application is there something which is returning something. How can I access it? How can I access is based on the domain name, public IP address, or the domain name public, this one, .com something. Open it. It will take HTTPS by default. See, that's why HTTPS it took, right? Ours is not HTTPS, which obviously failed. So that's why we can able to access by Linux server IP or Linux server DNS name if Linux server has the DNS name. DNS is a separate topic. We will see that. But yeah, for now we'll access by IP. Sorry, I missed that. So that's why we're using IP address. But we don't use IP generally, right? We use DNS name, domain names, youtube.com, facebook.com, or google.com, something like that. That also we need to buy. We need to buy it. We need to map it. That's a different topic. But for now, yeah, let's use by IP because we don't have a domain name. So now coming to virtual host here, let's say I have only one Linux server. Obviously, you can see it, and I have three websites. Three websites I have. I want to deploy it in the same Linux server. Can I do that? Yes, you can do that. With the help of something called virtual web hosting, virtual hosting, we can share it. This will allow one server, to share its resources like memory, CPU, whatever, everything for multiple websites. You can able to use it. You don't need to install anything separately. You just need to write the configuration. That's it for in the existing code. Got it? So how to do that, and of course how to uh, write the configuration, where to write it, that we will see now. First, let's create multiple websites. Index.html, this is one website, let's say mkdir website 2, mkdir website 3. Let's create mkdir website 1, sorry, and I'll move this index.html to website 1. Let's create one more file here. Index.html is the basic starting page of anything. That's why I know it will take it. Hi, hello, this is website 2. Just I'm writing some random just to show you the difference. Okay, hello, this is website 3. Got it? Now I have 3 websites. If I open by default, it will only open one. I mean, so far without configuration. So what I told, there is something called virtual hosting, where we can able to access multiple applications, where we can able to deploy our multiple applications in one server, and we can able to access that. How to do that? It's also very simple. So let's go to our configuration, etc Apache. So you can go to let's say conf, or you can go to original file also. You can directly write here also, which is completely fine. But yeah, let's not write it. Let's go to conf enable. Okay. Instead of this, let's go to sites enabled. Yeah, so you can write in sites enable, because other default files are there. You can just ignore them. Don't go there. Don't just leave it. So yeah, there are some file called default.conf in sites enabled folder within the Apache 2. See, if you observe, every file is ending with .conf. It means it's configuration file. So server will understand it. So your file also should be end like that. Let's open this default file. This is how we write virtual hosting. See, but yeah, it will be a little confused. Let's delete this file. Done. Now let's write our own file. First, maybe for website 1, I'll write it. Website1.conf. Virtual hosting starts like this. Now, I told virtual hosting, to host multiple websites. How to do that? So, how to achieve that is, there are two ways to do it. Within virtual host, there are two types. One is port-based hosting. Another one is name-based hosting. Port-based hosting most commonly used, most important, because different port numbers will use this. Different based on the port number, we'll deploy our application. Let's say, I think when you might have remember, when I checked the status after installing Apache 2, it says failed because the port number is being used by some other service. Why like that is, one port number can be used by one service at a time, just like VA sudo. If you are using port number 80, I cannot use that within the same system. Like again, we have one laptop. Just take example, maybe basic example, Windows laptop. You are using Windows laptop. I cannot log in with my user, right? Yeah, we have to use one by one. So similar way here also, if a port number is being used by one service, other service cannot use that port number. They have to use a different one. Otherwise, there will be a conflict. It says the port is already being used by some other service. Please use a different port. That's all. If SSH is using 22, no other service can use that port number. I mean, you can use any port number from 0 to 65,000, but no two services cannot use the same port number. Remember that again. Got it? So now here we will be doing virtual hosting based on port numbers. It means we have three websites. We'll run three websites in different port numbers. Website 1 will be 80 port number, website 2 will be 81 port number, or anything. I'm telling you, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 until 65,000. I told you, right? You can use any port, it does not matter really. For website 3, I'll be using some other port. Anything I'm telling you again, don't worry about that. So, virtual host, next what we have to do is we have to give the server IP colon the port number 80. This is website 1 configuration, that's why I gave 80. Let's write a comment above. Website 1 configuration. Instead of IP address, you can give star also, which is completely fine. There is nothing wrong. So we have to access with this URL now. After we save the configuration, after we reload the Apache, then we can access like with this URL. Or instead of IP address, you can give star. Most people give star because you know why? Sometimes the IP changes. Let's say IP change tomorrow. Again, you have to open the Apache configuration and give the update your IP over there, which is every day we can't do it. That's why we'll use star, which is fine. That's fine. You can be able to use it. Next, first thing what we have to do, document root. Document root is where your code is present. My code is present slash var slash www slash html. Sorry, slash website. This is where, sorry, website 1. This is where my code is present, right? That's why we have to give like that. You know, for now this is the only thing required, but we'll add few more things. There is something called server admin, who is the maintainer of this one. You can give some mail if it is, you know, if your user ID, if you are maintaining it, and usually you will have a mail, right, an office address of some office mail, give that mail.com something. I'm just giving random things. Next, it will ask for server name. If you have a domain name, like anything, google.com or something, you can give like this. Of course, we don't have that server now. For now, I'll give test.com, which don't work, but I'm just giving randomly. That's it. So now there is one more thing called error log. By default, Apache have error logs, normal logs, store in one path. Let me show you. Go you there. Let's show you here. /log Apache. These two are the log files. See, these three. Sorry. Error log means whatever the errors it is, whatever the errors occurred, whatever errors it recorded, it will be stored in error log by default. It's fine. I mean, that's completely fine. It will give by system. Same thing. Other than errors, whatever it's recording, it will store in these or these. Access log or other vhost access log. These are the default. But for in our case, what's happening? I mean, you can use this completely, which is nothing wrong in this. But we have three websites, right? Three applications. So I would like to maintain three separate log files. Three separate log files. How to do it? Simple. Create files here. Touch website 1 error.log, website 2 underscore error.log, website 3 underscore. So separate error log files for my website, because it will be easy for me to figure out. If let's say website 2 is down, instead of going through main log file, filter out where my website 2 error is, I can simply go here, right? It's separate for website. That's fine. That's why we can able to do like this. Got it? Just give hyphen for everything instead of, yeah. Now go back to our website one. Error log, give the path. No need to give like a where log http where log apache to blah blah something. Simply give the file name. It will automatically identify. How? Because by default, as the log path is where log apache 2. So if you don't specify any path here, it will go there directly. This Apache server will go there directly. So you don't bother, giving the full path. Got it? That's all. This is, and there is something called custom log also. Apart from error log, I showed you there is something called access log. Access log files. Right? Similar way, you can create your own files here. I mean, in the sorry, what is that? In here, where log Apache, and you can able to use it. But yeah, I don't want that. Let's leave it by default. So custom log, it's okay. I don't want it. Now these are the things in virtual host. So you have to close it now. Slash virtual host. You have to give slash if you want to close it. Sorry, spelling wrong. Opened, closed. So what is inside my code where it's present? Server name if it is there, server admin you can give, it's fine. It's optional. Server name you have, you can give it. Error log, I want to store log in here. That's it. That's simple. Now write for website 2. Sorry. Website 2, same thing. Except we'll change the port number. Let's see. Star colon 80 88. Just example, I'm telling you. Take any port number, it does not really matter. 8000, let's say. Take it, which is fine. Document rule. Slash where, HTML slash website 2. Server admin, blah blah blah. You can just copy all these things. Instead of writing again, you can just copy this. Why to writing? Change it. Website 2 error.log test to 2.com mail to blah, there's a sample value, dummy values, it does not really matter. Same thing. Go right for website 3. Of course, port number you can use maybe 9000. I can give 65,000, 65,535 like this. Until this I can give. But yeah, you can give anything. 9,000 maybe 9,999. Sorry, 4 nines, not 5 nines. Website 3, obviously. Just some random change, even though it won't work, but change the dummy values just to make it clear. That's it. These 3 are the websites. I wrote the configuration. So there is one more thing which we need to do. What is it? Is allowing these port numbers. See what's happening here is we wrote the configuration, okay, which is correct, but Apache reads the configuration, that is also fine. But the port numbers are different, right? Okay, this is the default. 80 is default, leave it. But remaining 8,999, these are all not default port number. Apache does not know that. So what we have to do is we have to write these lines. Listen 8000 and listen 9999. Whatever the ports we are using, we just added them as a listen. So that Apache can read it, okay. Apache can allow these port numbers to be used. That's it. So listen will be writing to make sure Apache enables that port number. Apache starts using that port number. Without this listen, it won't work. Got it? So whatever the ports we are using, we enable that. It is by default enabled. So that's why I did not test it. That's the configuration whole thing. Simply save it. Now I don't know. Shall we try now? Before trying to access your application, check the syntax errors. If you have any errors, check it. There is command called Apache 2ctl-t. See, syntax okay. If you are in CentOS like that, HTTPD-t. Similar command, hyphen t. So it will check the syntax. Let's write something wrongly. Let's see. Mm, blah 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 something. Let's see if this throws error or not. Apache 2ctl-t. See, syntax error on line 33. Something. See, it will show you. If you wrote anything wrong, line 33. This is the one. See, if you wrote anything wrong, it will show you the error. So that based on that, you can able to fix that error. That's why always once you write the Apache configuration, check the syntax. If you are in CentOS, this one, sorry, HTTPD, got it? Always make sure you check the syntax. Now syntax is ready. I mean, sorry, it's correct. Let's start it. Systemctl reload is fine. Reload is fine. Apache 2. Sometimes reload won't happen. Restart it. Now what I have to do first thing, I have to allow the port numbers, otherwise it won't work. See, now it's not working because we changed it. Don't worry. Come on. What is the port numbers? 8000 one thing. 9999, right? It's taking HTTPS. Now this is the default website. Of course, I did not mention 80 anywhere. As I told you, browser will take 80 by default. If you mention HTTPS, browser will take 443 by default. So those are default ports. You don't need to add, do like this specifically. For other ports, so your application is running on 8000 and 9999. For that, you have to give the port numbers like this, colon the port number. See, like this. See, colon, one colon, not two. Observe here. If I increase it, no, it won't work. It's okay. See, colon the port number. Now again, IP address or domain name colon 9999. See, website 3. Simple, right? As simple as that. If I remove everything, it will go to default. Default means 80 port number, which we have the configuration already. Of course, we have seen it. See, as simple as that. Just run in some different port numbers, that's it, and it will take care of it. That's it. That's the only thing. Got it? Sorry. So that's how it works. That's as simple. I mean, the configuration is simple. That's it. Okay, you may think now, okay, this just code is just one file. It does not matter really. Even if they have huge code, you don't care because it's their code. Why you bother it? Why you bother about it? All you have to do is deploy it. That's it. You got a code. They gave you the code. Hey, deploy this. You deploy it. That's it. You don't care about how big the code is, how big the project is, blah blah blah. All those things does not really matter. Apache will take care of it. All you have to do is configure it. Configure the port numbers. If they require a different separate port number, configure like this. If you are using Apache again, so like this. Got it? That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Uh, Port-based virtual hosting. Got it? Is it clear? Now there is one more thing called name-based virtual hosting. See here what we did. Based on the port numbers, we are accessing the sites. Name-based means it will be same port number. Of course, I cannot show you now because we don't have a domain name. But I can just show you the configuration change. Name based means it will be like this. All say port numbers, but how the hell it works? How the name based port number works is based on the domain name. Based on the domain name. So test.com, test2.com, test3.com, all are pointing to same IP address. Same IP address means your system, your server, Linux server IP address. So based on the server name, it will resolve. It will work. Of course, test.com won't work because we need an original domain name. We need to buy that. To buy that, we need to link that domain name to here. This is a DNS topic which will come maybe day after tomorrow, Friday maybe. But that's fine, yeah. So we need to buy a domain. We need to link that domain to your IP address. Then what happens, based on the name, domain name, whatever we have. If this is the original domain name, we can able to access that. But of course, this is not. We cannot. So name based, which is also most commonly used. I mean, sometimes if you observe, we never access by port number. The major websites, not a major website, any website, we don't access by port number. We access by domain names only, because we buy the domain, we map to that IP address or something, whatever. So got it. But yeah, that's topic will come on Friday, I think. But yeah, it's fine. So that's about name based hosting. I mean, based on the names, I mean, port number will be same. It won't change for name based hosting. The server names will be changing. If it is a port based hosting, based on port numbers. Server name, it does not care about it anymore. If you are using different ports, server name does not matter. You can remove this also. It's completely fine. Let's say you are using port based. Blah, blah. Sorry. Let's say all you have to do is you just need this. This also is not required unless you want to make a separate configuration, but document root is the only thing it's required to access your code for port based code. Server admin, server name is a dummy values, as I told you now. Even though if it is not there, nothing will change. It still work. Got it? That's how it is. So port based hosting, based on the port numbers, we access it. Name based hosting, same ports won't change now, but based on the server name, based on the domain name, obviously, which is here. The original domain name, not some dummy values. We cannot do that. Got it? That's about virtual hosting and port based. Sorry, what is it? Hosting, port based hosting. Now imagine, let's say you got a certificate now. Your team, your manager bought a domain name test3.com, and he bought SSL certificate. SSL certificate is the certificate which will be used here to make this a connection secure. Why the hell I need to make the connection secure? Because if you don't have a certificate, it will be easy for everyone to hack your website. Let's say I have a website here now, this sample one. It's not secure because I don't have a certificate. So it will be easy for to hack it, to hack it website, and it will come to your server. Got it? But it's not secure for major applications, right? Hacking their data and hacking their systems and everything. That's why they'll use HTTPS certificates. There will be these are files. I mean, um, we'll be buying it along with our domain name. Without the domain name, we cannot get the certificates because the certificates will be created based on your domain name. Google.com means, or Facebook.com, Amazon.com, something like that. So based on the domain name, we can create certificates. How to create? There are websites again. We can create it. We can pay it, and they'll give to you, and we can configure that. Got it? And there is something called Let's Encrypt. I think that's a little famous one. See, it will provide the certificates to you. Sorry. So it will provide the certificates to you. You can able to access it. Sorry, you can able to use it. You can able to work on it. Let's try if it is works or not. I don't know. Let's create our own certificates. We don't have a domain name, but let's just for show to show you how the configuration works. There is this apt install certbot. These are packages to install it. Even I never tried it. I think one time I tried, I forgot it how it worked. But let's see. Hopefully this should work. Install. Let's. There is this command certbot -hyphen Apache. Enter email address. Mail.com. Oh, is it generating the original certificate? It's okay. Invalid email. See, test at mail.com. Now we took it. Do you agree? Yes, please, blah blah blah. Blah blah, do we willing, blah blah blah, something, whatever it is. Which names would you recommend? See, it automatically read your configuration. See, that's how it is. For which domain you want websites? Blank. I want all of them. Requesting certificate for test.com and two more domains. It automatically creating it. See, some challenges it failed unauthorized. Obviously because the domain name is wrong. Because test.com, test123.com, these are very common things we use it. So it's not taking, it's not generating. See, it's not correct. Sorry, but yeah, what happens if it is the websites are the names are correct? We cannot use it. So as of now, but yeah, what happens is it will generate files for you. It will generate files for you. What are those files? One file will be like a test2.crt, test2.key. Let's create these files. Just it won't work, but yeah, this let's create it. So these two for website 2. How to configure it? Let's see that. How to configure. You know, all you have to do is now you're moving to HTTPS. What you have to do? You can change the port number to 443 if you want by default, or leave it as it is. 8000 is complete. That also fine completely. All you have to do add is 3 lines. That's it. SSL engine on. Sorry. SSL certificate file. You have to give the certificate file. Certificate means .crt /etc/apache2 /sites enable /test2.crt. I hope I am correct. Next you have to give .key, which we created. SSL certificate key file. certificate key file /apache2 /sites enable test2.key. That's what our keys, right? And that's it. Only these 3 lines are fine. Now your website became SSL, mean HTTPS. We can able to access, and if they are original, I mean obviously, got it. Only these 3 lines. All you have to do is get your certificates. These two, they'll give it to you. You don't create it like from command line. No, it won't work like that. Just want to show you, that's it. But it did not work. So they'll register here, or there is something called GoDaddy, right? Or AWS also. AWS also gives certificates. Wherever your website is, they'll go there and they'll buy the certificates, and they'll give the files. They'll download from there. They'll give it to you since you're a DevOps engineer, and you have to configure it. How to configure it? Copy this file to some path wherever it is. Copy it anywhere, not just here. Anywhere you can copy it, and go to your configuration. Add these 3 lines. Of course, don't need to remember these 3 lines. Just Google it. Enable SSL in Apache. It will give it to you. 3 lines. Don't worry. Because I worked on it, so I just remembered it. That's it. You don't need to remember it. Got it? This is how you write it and save it. But still, it won't work. Not because of the fake dummy files, but because of we need to enable the SSL. We need to enable the SSL. How to enable it? So there is something called mods. Mods available, mods enable. What are those mods? Let's go. We know conf is configuration, site means still configuration. We can use any of these folders for our configuration. But what is mods? Mods are nothing but modules. There are modules in Apache. We don't write any module, we don't create them, blah blah. We don't do anything. We just enable and disable them. That's it. But what are the use of modules? That we have to see. See, you have just used what is it? Virtual hosting, port based, and as well as what is it? Name based hosting. How this came? Based on the modules only. So this module will enable a feature for you so that you can able to use it. That's it. So you're using virtual host, which is a feature, right? How it came? There is a module called a virtual host, which it enabled by default, so that you can able to use it. Same thing, SSL. We want to use SSL, so there will be a module for SSL which we need to enable. How to enable it? There is a command. That's A2ENMOD. A2 means Apache 2, EN means enable, MOD means module. That is the meaning of this command. Apache 2 enable module. What is the module? SSL. See, it's enabled and it's saying to restart. Let's do it. So there is some error. Apache 2 CTL-T. Sorry. Line 17 syntax error. Directory does not exist. Oh, test2.crt. Is it not present? Test2.crt. Okay. It's empty file. See, there is nothing in that file. Sorry, my bad. That's why it is throwing error. Of course, we don't have anything. We don't have a certificate. But sorry. Let's add something. Blah blah. Some random data. Let's see if it works or not. That's cool. Let's add some random data here also. Now syntax okay. They are empty files. There is no data inside it. So I just add some random data just for now. Now it took it. See, Apache CTL. This will check the syntax. Syntax means how you wrote the configuration, whether everything is correct or not, not the data. See, certificate we had some random data. It won't check the data. It can't check the data. It does not matter really. So it checks the configuration. That's it. Got it? So now enabling the module. You can enable it anywhere, any place. It does not really matter. A2 Apache 2 EN MOD, the module SSL. See, module is already enabled. You want to disable A2, enable EN. What is disabled? DAS. Same thing. See, it's disabled. To activate, it's saying to restart. Obviously, there is some error because I disabled SSL module, but I'm using this SSL configuration still in my configuration, right? Website.conf. That's why it won't work. See, your disabled SSL module, but still you have configuration, which is why Apache will throw error. Remove the configuration if you don't want to use it, or comment it if you're not using SSL. If you want to use SSL, use the configuration like that. You can use any module. I mean, whatever it's present. I mean, not really any module. Got it? Of course, Apache won't start because the certificate is wrong, even the syntax is correct, which is fine. We cannot start it now. But yeah, I wanted to show you that how it works. So that's about Apache. It's simple. I mean, we install it, we deploy our application. If you have multiple applications, use a virtual host, either port-based hostings. If you don't have a domain name. If you have multiple domain names, use name-based host. Mostly name-based hosting will use it, but we don't deploy in a single machine. We'll be deploying in multiple machines. Don't worry about that. But yeah, if it is the case, I mean, maybe a small organization can't afford two machines, we'll be using name-based virtual hosting or port-based virtual hosting in a single machine, which is fine. And finally, SSL setup. If you want to set up SSL, This is how we do it. You get the certificates. Once you get the certificates, you write the configuration. What is the configuration? SSL engine on the .crt key file path. Sorry, my bad. If you observe here, this is the configuration only for this website, not for website 3, website 1. Website 1 there are still HTTP. Sorry. Website 1 and website 3 they are still HTTP, not HTTPS. Website 2 only HTTPS. You can use like this. If you are HTTP, if you are HTTPS, which is completely fine. Nothing wrong in that. Got it? So that's how you use it. And of course, you have to enable the listen the port number, whatever the port number you're using, apart from default 80 and 443. Got it? So that's about Apache 2 or HTTPD. Similar concept, similar thing. Mostly everything is similar. The concept is similar. Everything is except small configuration change, except very minor configuration changes will be present for Nginx. That we'll discuss tomorrow. Don't worry. So, but for now, it's Apache. So, yeah. Any doubts so far? Anything? Any questions? Anything? Yeah. If nothing, yeah. Once you practice, of course, you'll get those things. So yeah, practice. Then yeah, ping me if any doubts. All right. Yeah, we'll meet tomorrow same time then with a different topic. All right then. Yeah, we'll meet tomorrow then. Bye. Bye all. Bye. Have a nice day.